so nasty.
You can go.
You ready, Ed?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. Short and pretty quick. I call to order the regular Board of Education meeting on January 23rd, 2022 at 6:31 in the boardroom of OPRF High School, and ask for a roll, please.
Ms. Spivey? Here. Dr. Maharaj? Mr. Arkin?
Here.
Mr. Henry? Mr. Martieri? Ms. Harris?
Here, Ralph's trying to say he's here too.
Okay. And Mr. Costa?
Here. Thank you. I move to enter closed session for the purpose of discussion, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district or legal counsel for the district and independent contractors and specific volunteers, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee or against legal counsel for the district to determine its validity, and collective negotiation matters between the district and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees. May I please have a second?
Second.
And may we have a roll, please?
Dr. Maharaj? Mr. Arkin?
Yes.
Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Mr. Martieri?
Yes.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Spivey?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes. Okay, now we're going to Zoom close. Let me find my notes. We are reconvening open session. And our first order of business are our introductory reports. Lisa, what are report requests?
We had 7 requests and 5 have been resolved.
All right, that's 72%. Okay. Yep.
Somebody double check.
Next, we have no student council report this evening, so the superintendent, you're on.
Okay, here we go. Thank you, Tom. All right, first, before I go into any report for this evening, I'd like to begin by expressing, as an OPRF community, our deepest remorse to the family and friends of current senior Jalen Bledsoe Logan. As you may be aware, the entire OPRF community is reeling from the news that Jalen was murdered this past Wednesday morning in a horrific act of senseless violence. I would like you all to please join me right now in a moment of silence for Jalen. Thank you. To Jalen's family, our hearts are with you. As far as our usual superintendent's report is concerned here, we just have a few items of recognition at this time of the year. First, we did have 2 students, athletes, take top 3 honors at state tournaments this past spring. Ian Kelly was the boys' state track and field champion in the 300-meter hurdles, while Josephine Whalen set a new school record and took 3rd in state in the girls' 1600 meters. Ian and Josephine, as well as the following students, were recognized as IHSA All-State athletes. Grace Cook, girls lacrosse, Kate Barkdahl, softball, Rory Cronin, girls water polo, Julia Dawn, girls soccer, Reese Garland, girls track and field, and finally, Caden Garland, boys track and field. In addition to being selected as an IHSA All-State athlete, Henry Thompson is OPRF's first boys lacrosse player to be recognized as a USA Lacrosse All-American. So congratulations to Henry. In intramural sports, our varsity ultimate Frisbee team took 2nd place in the state tournament. And I want to provide also an update after those recognitions here on progress towards the proposed renovation of our athletic fields, which is a collaboration that we've been working on, as you all know, between the Park District of Oak Park and the village now to improve the facilities for our students. The Park District's Executive Director, Jan Arnold, and a few members of our team, Ron Henderson, and Nicole Epson. Ron, I swear I know your last name. Met with the village board this past Tuesday to share some introductory information with them. Extending the use of our fields is necessary to make this agreement work for all parties. As a result, the district is applying for a special use permit from the village, which would extend the hours for the lights on the field from the current time of 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on some nights. We plan to present our request for approval of the new special use permit to the Village Plan Commission on July 28 with a final vote by the village board on August 1. In the meantime, we will be bringing the contract for the field work to the D200 board on July 14. This will help us ensure that we'll be prepared to go out to bid and develop a full site plan and complete this light illumination plan as quickly as possible once the permit is hopefully approved on August 1. The approval of the revised special use permit and a resulting IGA with PDOP will follow that meeting. And I do want to say one final quick note before I wrap up these announcements today. It has been no secret at all that today is an important day for OPRF in a lot of ways. This is, just give me 1 second here. This is Gail Calmerton's last board meeting at OPRF as our clerk of the board. And I wanted to find the right way to recognize this, and I figured the superintendent's announcement is just perfect for that. So for that reason, I am sorry that I'm very sorry that I am not able to be in person tonight due to my own health reasons right now, but this comes as bittersweet for all of us. We've said much in other places, and so I'm not going to repeat all of that right now, of course, but Gail, I will say this again, as it has been echoed in so many ways by those you've worked with over the past few years. Your defining strength, above all your characteristics, is the quiet dignity that you have consistently embodied for this district, the office of the superintendency, and the Board of Education. And while I'm confident we are in very good hands moving forward, you will forever be missed at OPRF, and especially in these meetings, even if you may not forever miss these meetings. So Gail, thank you so much for all you've done during your into your 4th decade of service to this community in this position. And I wish you all the best in your retirement, Gail. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Greg.
And that concludes the superintendent.
Yeah, I just want to stand up. I wasn't.
Yeah, I think we can use this as a perfect opportunity then to just have the board also extend our discussion on the matter. So would anyone else like to speak to Gail? I would love to. Go ahead, Fred.
Get every word of this, every word.
I don't think I could put it any more eloquently than Greg, but Gail, you've been the backbone of the Board of Education. Your, I guess dignity is the correct word. Is the face of the district, and he gives us all kind of a pause to evaluate ourselves and our motivations and our actions. So thank you so much for being such a strong leader for such a long time.
Thank you. Means a lot.
So I want it on record that I think I learned more from Gail about being a board member than I didn't cry. It wouldn't be a meeting. Anyway, we have stuff for you. I'm just gonna give you the stuff. We have some okra, themed flowers, and a little something else that you can open at home, and then you're getting something in the mail today. Oh.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll be needed respite, but this is on behalf of the Board of Education. We love you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw in, I appreciate, Gail, how you handled everything with like a smile and professionalism. I don't think I've ever seen you lose your sense of equanimity at any point or juncture, which is something that I certainly can't say about myself. And it's really hard to do in this environment as charged as it can be. And I think that speaks volumes about you as a person and how you approach your job and how you deal with other people. It's wonderful to see. I think you're a rare example of someone who could literally work with anyone. And I just appreciate everything you've done and the way you've done.
Thank you.
I just want to say congratulations again and enjoy the time in the next chapter. And I've known Gail probably not as long as you guys have, but started CCP, and that's when I love organization and structure. Gail really epitome of that, and I just love that about you. And never waver. You always have the right answers, what you're supposed to do, and I just admire that about you. And that's a trait that's not very common anymore. And you have never wavered since I've known you and how you organize, keep everything moving and keeping us organized. I'm sorry to see you go, but I'm happy to just start the next phase of your tournament. So congratulations.
Thank
you. All of you.
Gil, I just have to tell you, like, it's been really, really amazing. And I've learned all the things. And your patience with all of my questions and your persistence with following up when you needed an answer. But doing it in such a kind and welcoming way, always, always, always. And just all of the knowledge that you hold and have held and literally, like was said, every answer, every single answer, and done it in such a way that just made me not feel like I was burdening you with all my questions when I first came on the board, because I just was nonstop with it. So thank you for everything. Congratulations. Like I think our community doesn't realize how much you've actually done over the years to really make sure that this board functions well. And thank you too for staying on to support Lisa and Dan on board here, because it's just been, you've been magnificent. And so I'm glad that you get to have time to do whatever it is you want to do. Thank you.
Thank you. So I've, having duration, I've kind of had the opportunity and the pleasure of 10 years with you on the board and then a couple in committee before that. And you're the steadying force, you're the anchor, and superintendents have come and gone, boards have come and gone, but the ship keeps sailing, and it's because of your, steady hand, guiding, providing, helping us learn, and you make the board a better board. You've made the board a better board, and that means that you've helped serve our students better. So you should be very, very proud of that. And you're an amazingly consistent and wonderful person to work with. I love meeting your granddaughter and daughter. And I know you have plenty of good things to do with them as you leave the halls here. So enjoy it. You deserved it, but you've done a wonderful example for Lisa to follow. So thank you.
Thank you. Now I should say something profound, and I should say something individually to everyone who I've ever worked with. Just appreciate them. But just know that I have had the pleasure, the honor to work with all the boards that I have, and the superintendents, and the people in my office, and the people in this building. There have been long moments with this job, but overall it's just gone so quickly, almost 30 years, just so quickly. So I thank you for making it, for me, what it was. It's my life, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any public comments, Lisa?
We have one public comment tonight via Zoom.
Okay.
Ms. Thompson? Ms. Thompson, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, you could go ahead whenever you're ready.
All right. So, good afternoon, everyone, or evening, I should say. My name is Takeshi Thompson, and I'm the parent of a freshman student who attends Oak Park River Forest High School. Just wanted to speak about the excessive absences and the loss of instruction time policy. My child is a freshman student who attends Oak Park River Forest, and she works extremely hard to maintain good grades. So walking the overcrowded hallways daily to get to the next class in a timely manner has been a difficult challenge for all students. For this reason, I disagree wholeheartedly on how the excessive absence / loss of instruction time policy was applied. And then I attached a file that I wanted you all to take a look at. So as a parent, I'm highly upset that Oak Park River Forest High School staff failed to adhere to this policy and notify me that my child was at risk of losing credit for a class. It wasn't until June 10th, 2022, when school was not in session and she was out of state on a trip, that I learned of the notation of an N on her report card. I'm asking the board to revise this policy to reflect how the parents are notified of attendance issues, preferably by direct call and mail, including a signed receipt. Emails and robocalls should be a last resort in these types of situations. Emails, if they aren't work-related, they are not checked daily, and depending on the delivery, the emails may automatically go to a spam or a junk folder. The tardy procedure, it also needs to be adjusted to allow students more time to get to class in a timely manner, due to the fact that the hallways are overly crowded and there's construction going on in the building while students are present. Also, if the school doesn't adhere to its own policy, what can be done to ensure that proper protocols are followed moving forward?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that completes our,
That completes our public comments.
okay, thank you very much. We will move to the consent agenda. We are pulling consent item letter L, approval of the Menta contract for further discussion. Are there any items on the consent agenda that board members would like to pull for further discussion? Hearing none, I move to approve the consent items as follows. A, approval of open and closed session minutes of May 26 and June 9, and the declaration of the audio tapes of the closed session minutes of November 20 be destroyed. B, personnel recommendations including new hires, transfers, summer hires, and resignations as presented. C, approval of the April 2022 treasurer's report as presented. D, approval of the April 2022 monthly financial report as presented. E, approval of acceptance with gratitude of a donation by Good Heart Work Smart in the amount of $40,000 to the athletics football program, which will be used for weight room equipment and improvements. F, approval of June 2022 check disbursements and financial resolutions as presented. G, approval of 2022-2023 speech therapist contract with Dr. Eileen Braun, speech pathology services in the amount ranging from $48,680 to $58,415 as presented. H, approval of 2022-23 physical therapist contract with supplemental health care in the amount of $40,420 as presented. I, approval of the 3-year extension of the space sharing agreement between the district and River Forest Community Center. J, approval of the sustainability policy for first reading. K, approval of 2022-2023 daily substitute rate of $150 per day and long-term substitute and permanent substitute rates of $250 per day for the total estimated cost of $74,500. M, approval of property casualty liability and workers' compensation insurance renewal for 2022-2023 for an estimated annual premium of $663,570. And approval of the Tri-District Technology Consortium agreement at no cost to the district. May I have a second?
Second.
May we please have a roll?
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Montieri,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Spivey,
Yes.
Ms. Arkin,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes. Okay. I move to approve we're into action. I move to approve the following action items. Policies for first reading. May I have a second?
Second.
Second. Tom, did you want to do the Menta contract?
No, that was pulled.
Oh, it was pulled completely. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I thought it was pulled for discussion.
It was pulled from yes.
Got it.
Yes.
My misunderstanding.
So we have a second on the policies for so any discussion on those policies?
On court duty, why would we distinguish between licensed and other employees for doing court duty? I mean, we're given, I mean, it's the 580. It said, the question it asked us is, would the board like to apply this language to both licensed and educational support personnel? Yeah, I mean, they should both have the same rights. I would think that'd be my preference, but that's just me, maybe.
Yes.
No, I agree with you, Ralph.
Yeah, so yeah, there are, and thank you, Ralph. Yes, embedded in 5.80, there were a couple questions that we need to address as a board. So let's just, I guess we can provide that input collectively here. So does anyone have, I guess the question Ralph asked, does anyone have a response in terms of would the board like this language for licensed and educational support personals, or anyone that would want to speak to keeping it limited or for both?
I think I agree with Ralph, but I do have a question on this. So it's the provisions for certificated, that word, licensed employees serving as witness duty. Is that when they're a witness involving a dispute with a student or the school? Like I've never heard of witness duty. So I'm not entirely clear on when that would apply. I don't know who would have the answer to that. But in theory, I would agree with Ralph, right? It should apply equally. I'm not really sure what.
So can we have that as a follow-up before we go to second read? But for right now, is there anyone, do we have consensus to, pending, any further information to provide the direction that we wanted applying to both licensed and educational support?
Yeah, the language, Sarah, is the district will pay full salary during the time a licensed employee is absent due to a subpoena to serve as a witness in a trial or have a deposition taken in any school-related matter pending in court.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't see why we wouldn't encourage that.
I'm seeing consensus for that, so that as the policy is, we're not voting on that, are we?
Right. No, I'm just bringing it up. So if we wanted to make it apply to everyone, which is my opinion that it should, but others could have different opinions, just flag it and change the language before we finally approve it. That's all.
Correct. So the language should include both.
Okay.
Yes.
And it would apply to jury duty, right?
There's agreeing with Ralph.
Yes, put that down.
And just to clarify, it would apply to the jury duty provision in the policy as well, right? Jury or subpoena, I would think. Because jury duty currently says licensed.
Right.
Yeah, there's two specific asks in this. Jury duty, yes, two different places. So the answer is both for both.
Yep.
Good. Other questions on policies? There was another ask in here, which is in policy 7.270.
Actually, I think it's 7285 about undesignated.
7285. Well, in 7285, there's a question, but in 7.270, it does say that we must adopt a policy that addresses the prevention. Okay, that's covered. We're good with that. So 7.285, has the board adopted the school district supply of undesignated epi injection subhead in policy 7270, which is the link back. So the question is, do we need to do that? It sounds like we need to do that.
Yes, that would be the recommendation. We do have an undesignated supply, and so this is an update to that policy, aligning it with others. So the recommendation would be yes.
Is there anyone who has an opinion counter to that recommendation? No. Nope. So I think that was the answer to that question. Those were the-
My only other question about all the policies, Tom, was on 3:70. Greg, have you put together a succession plan? If you're not around to act, or the principals, just asking.
You know, it's funny you should ask. I do have a list of other administrators in the building who have their superintendent's endorsement. And so when I'm not around, they are the go-tos. But other than that, no full plan necessarily exists.
When does Kofsky get to take the reins? That's what I want to know.
You know, I can't remember, he's in the list. I just can't remember exactly what sequence. But Ralph, you're not far behind, man, is the. So-
Very good. Okay. Any other questions on any of the policies for first read? I got one, which is the new sustainability policy as it's presented in the document. You know, there's reference. There was kind of an original version, then there was a modification to the policy. In that, there's some language about, you know, we must address policy 4. This is policy 4.70 moving forward and get rid of the prior draft and replace it. So that's the only modification as we move that one forward. Any other comments on the policies? So may we have a roll call on the motion?
Mr. McSherry?
Yes.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Spivey?
Yes.
Mr. Hargit?
Yes.
Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Mr. Kowski?
Yes. Is there any information on the reports update? None?
None.
Future agenda items. Good.
Motion to adjourn.
Half a second earlier on. No, just
Red, you're killing me.
the public comment that we had tonight from Ms. Thompson
Yes.
regarding the excessive tardies and unexcused absences and the whole application of that. I've also had a contact by some parents. I've forwarded them on to the administration. But it has been, I think it's been very confusing, and communication has not been the greatest. And I think that needs to be looked at and discussed.
So can we put that on the list of future agenda items to review the absentee policy? Yeah, Dr. Johnson.
That is certainly something that we can do. This is a policy that, or I should say, probably shouldn't say policy at a board meeting because it suggests it's board policy and it's not. This is a building practice that is currently under review by our administrative team. And we would be happy to bring updates to what that practice will be at a future meeting with explanation and gather feedback from the board and all that at a future meeting. So.
Okay, any other potential future items? Any past items that you want to talk about again?
I revived my motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. No, that was a fake aye. We are adjourned at 8:01.
It's amazing.
8:02.
Yeah.
8:02.
Good night, folks. Feel better, Greg.
Almost hit 8 o'clock.
Yeah, feel better, Greg.
We would have been 8 o'clock if Fred.
Thank you.